Mumonkan, case number 6. The Buddha holds out a flower. One day, when Shakyamuni Buddha was lecturing at Vulture Peak Mountain, he held out a flower to his listeners. Everyone was silent. Only Mahakashyapa broke into a broad smile. The Buddha said, "I have the true Dharma eye, the marvelous Nirvana mind, the true form of the formless, and the subtle Dharma gate, independent of words and conveyed beyond doctrine. All these I am hereby transmitting to Mahakashyapa." So let us quickly repeat and clarify bit by bit. One day, when Shakyamuni Buddha was lecturing at Vulture Peak, he held out a flower to his listeners. So during those days, which is in India about 500 before Christ, there would be daily lectures by the Buddha. And he would normally provide teachings in a verbal form, which later on were recorded in written form in sutras. And I'm speaking about quite a bit later, maybe a few hundred years later. However, at this occasion, there was a crowd gathered to listen to his sermon, to his lecture, and yet the only thing he did was to hold up a flower. Everyone was silent. Most of the people didn't get the message, as they were caught in daydreams. And they were asking, why does he hold up this flower? When will he start talking? When will the sermon begin? Only Mahakashyapa broke into a broad smile. If you would be in the crowd, would you be silent or would you be smiling? As a response, the Buddha said, I'm continuing, "I have the true Dharma eye, the marvelous Nirvana mind, the true form of the formless, and the subtle Dharma gate, independent of words and conveyed beyond doctrine. All these I am hereby transmitting to Mahakashyapa." In fact, according to the Mahayana Buddhism, Mahakashyapa becomes indeed the first patriarch receiving the transmission of the teaching from the Buddha directly. Let me give you my interpretation. Of course, as always, there are many interpretations and all of them are probably just as valid. In general, we usually live in dualism. Dualism meaning I am here, a body-mind, which is separate from the outside world. For example, I, the body-mind, when I take the flower again, I, the body-mind, sees a flower. Flower, body-mind, two, dualism. I, the body-mind, hears these chimes. Me here, sound there. 2. I, the body-mind, sees a thought. You're thinking about something. I'm here, me, thought, there. Dualism. We do this all the time. And it's like a bad habit which we have developed since childhood. By doing so, we generate an imaginary cobweb around ourselves. A cobweb made out of thoughts and feelings. This cobweb can be compared to a cocoon or a shell or a bubble which is surrounding us all the time. And what is inside is me, and what is outside is considered not me. Living with such a helmet or such a shell causes something strange to happen, a small delay in everything we do. I will give a few more examples for this. When we see something beautiful, like this flower or a painting, there is a small delay because the sight needs to go through this cobweb, and that takes a millisecond. It takes time. And then we react with that small delay and say, "Oh, how beautiful. Oh, so beautiful." Other example, when we hear something like a church bell or these chimes again, the sound needs to again penetrate this bubble, this helmet, and it takes again some time. And only after that delay we say, "Oh, that's beautiful." And you can see that delay very clearly. This is a hallmark of our living in dualism. Same when someone you meet in the street insults you, you would react with a small delay. Someone comes and says, "Oh, you guy, you look terrible today." And there's a little millisecond of delay before you're reacting. And what do you mean? Or the opposite is true. Someone comes our way and makes a nice compliment, like, "Oh, what a beautiful, you look great today." And then we also react with a small delay. What does he want? What is he all about? There's this cobweb of thoughts always surrounding us, causing these delays. Last example, when you do fighting sport and you're steeped in dualism and your attacker comes to you and does something sudden, you react a little bit too late. And because of that dualism, you would be losing. In fact, when you look at Zen practice, as it is done in many monasteries, Zen monks and students are playing to test this delay. The Zen master has an open eye and will check if there is such a delay. And if there is a delay in answering his question, you failed the koan. Or he would shout at you and you react with this cobweb of delay, and he would know you're still in a very dualistic mind. There is this beautiful verse by Katsuki Sekida. He is the author, by the way, of the Book of Koans that we are using here for the video series called Two Zen Classics. The verse is as follows: "The mirrors reflect the light of the golden palace. The hills respond to the note of the moonlit tower's bell. The beauty of these verses is that it shows the instantaneous, the immediate. There is no delay when mirrors reflect the light of the golden palace. There is no delay for the hills to respond to the note of the tower's bell. Well, there is some echoing delay, but it's still an immediate event, an immediate response. Mahakashyapa had his Dharma eye wide open to come back to our story with Buddha and the flower. When he saw the flower held up by the Buddha without any cobwebs or thoughts, he broke into a big smile. There was no delay. The interaction of Mahakashyapa was just like mirrors reflecting the light of the golden palace, and just like the hills responding immediately to the note of the tower's bell. You may find this all very interesting. You may find this also a little bit discouraging, because you, the viewer, may feel far remote of living without such a cobweb of thoughts. And you may think to be far remote of tasting this non-dualistic experience of an enlightened one. Or you may feel far remote from a situation like Mahakashyapa, this very big saint smiling for a flower. So rather than continuing some blah blah explanations about cobwebs, let us do a little exercise together to show you that this is not at all far remote. In fact, it is really quite simple, and you, the viewer, watching this video, you have this experience right now. So let's try with this little exercise to show this. But instead of using a flower as a support, we will have a short piece of Bach music, the French Suite No. 1 in D minor. And we will hear 3 parts of that piece, and each time we will try to listen to it in a different way. Let's start with the first. So in this first part of the music, feel yourself as the body-mind. The body-mind here, the music out there, as if there were 2. And feel that there is some kind of cobweb between you and the music. Now the second time. Try to feel that you are the aware space in which you notice your body-mind, you notice the cobweb, but you also know the music. So it is, instead of being body, mind and music, this time listen to it being aware space in which body, mind and music both appears. In this third part, ignore the body, mind and the cobweb and just be aware of music. And look if there is any boundary between you listener and music. Where is the limit? Where is the boundary? And see that in fact you cannot find such a boundary. See how it feels to listen without any cobweb between you and the music. And how you are one. You can repeat this exercise we just did with the music by doing it with the flower, and see that between you and the flower there is no boundary. You can also repeat the exercise while eating a strawberry and see that between you, aware space, and taste of strawberry there is no boundary. Or you can listen to a good friend and see that when you really truly listen to him or her, there is no boundary between you and him or her. This teaching, this exercise can really have deep implications in your life. Because living without a cobweb, one becomes more attuned, more artistic, more spontaneous, and also more adequate to cope situations and to listen and deal with people all around you. As we keep these recordings relatively short, we need to skip Mumonkan's comment. There is still a verse that I would like to share. Mumonkan's verse. Holding out a flower, the Buddha betrayed his curly tail, his deepest secret. At Mahakashyapa's smile, heaven and earth were bewildered. All cobweb-surrounded beings were bewildered. When is he starting his sermon? Heaven and earth were amazed. Thank you for your listening, and we'll see each other soon.